Hola a todos, oigan, estamos hoy estrenando una modalidad de un episodio muy diferente. Vamos a tener invitados de diferentes partes del mundo y hoy estamos muy emocionados porque vamos a tener a una invitada que ella es de Canadá, pero es italiana. Ya les contaré un poquito más adelante. Pero primero déjenme les cuento que un estudio elaborado por Decima Research, una compañía que se dedica a hacer varios estudios de mercado, reveló que el 93% de los canadienses reutilizan las bolsas de plástico por lo menos 2 veces. Hola a todos, bienvenidos a un episodio más de Perspectiva Verde, el podcast. Y bueno, como les comentaba, vamos a tener hoy una invitada. Ella es italiana. Nos va a dar esta entrevista en inglés. Entonces en Spotify va a estar en inglés la entrevista, pero sin problemas pueden revisar la entrevista subtitulada en español en YouTube, así que no se la pierdan. Y quédense para que vean todo lo que nos va a contar ella respecto a temas medioambientales en estos países. So today we have with us Doina, Doina Chokina. She is an Italian living in Canada, in Montreal. And well, she is in in this all of this environmental topics also because she wanted to know more about it and then she wanted to communicate this to other people. Um, so she's living in Montreal and she's today with us to tell us about mostly zero waste things and choices and decisions we can make as individuals to make a better home for everyone. So with us we have today Doina. Doina, thank you very much for being with us here. Thank you for
Hi,
your time.
hi everyone. Thank you very much for having me here today.
No, it's awesome. As I was telling the audience, we're very excited because this is our first time doing an international interview in a different language. So we're very excited and really thank you very much for being here and for being our first guest in this new modality, for to say so. And I would like you to tell me a little bit about yourself, Doina. How did you get to these environmental things? What are you doing? How did an Italian got from Italy all the way to Montreal? Like, how did you get? You crossed half of the world and then you're in Canada now. So tell us all about it, Doina.
Yeah, I'm in Canada because I came to study here. I came to do my master degree. I studied in translation. I did my bachelor degree in translation and interpretation, and then I continued to do my master degree in literally translation. And I came in Quebec specifically because I was studying French, and I know that maybe people were like, "You have France and Belgium right next to you. Why did you go so far?"
That could be a
But I
good
mean, I wanted
question.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, like why? But I mean, I wanted to do a different experience, let's say, because I already did my Erasmus experience in Belgium and I loved it. I really loved it. I met a lot of international students. It was very fun, but I didn't really like the university. Like university was okay. I just didn't really like the structure, let's say, of exams, of classes and stuff like that. So I wanted to do a different experience, and I went to Canada. I came here. It was a big change until like the day I took actually my flight. I didn't realize it that I was going very far. So I came here. I studied, and after my studies, honestly, I was going to go back home, but I met who is my husband right now, who is a Canadian. so so basically, I'm stuck here. Let's say so. Yeah, no. So after, like, I actually studied in Sherbrooke, but I moved after to Montreal because Sherbrooke it's a very small city. So I moved to Montreal for to search a job as usual. You finish your studies and you hope that you're going to become rich the day after. Didn't happen. I was unemployed for a lot of time. It was very hard. It was brutal, and so it was in this period that honestly I was just watching videos, watching stuff just to distract myself. And I came across a video of Kristen Leo. She's a Greek YouTuber, and she talks about fast fashion, veganism. She talks about zero waste. Now she's doing also a lot of videos that are way more deep and other thematics. And her video was about actually the zero waste movement, and then it was also about the fast fashion. Who actually, like, I didn't know all this stuff. It was really like eye opening for me. So I started to get involved more, to get information. I watched documentaries. I read a lot of articles, which is it was a very good distraction for me, to, like, from all my my problems. But it was not a happy reading for sure. But
Yeah, like you got deep into the rabbit hole. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like, why do you do this to yourself? But yeah, I started to talk about it on my YouTube channel, where I was only talking about Canada on this moment, because I was doing the differences between Italy and Canada, and everyone liked it a lot, all this stuff. And when I introduced this, I was kind of scared, because let's say my main followers were following because of Canada, not because of zero waste, But actually, I had a very positive feedback, and people enjoyed it. And then I started to take more seriously Instagram, and to talk about it like more also there, because there was not so many people in Italy talking about it. You could find a lot of information in English, but not a lot of people know English. There's a lot of young people also who follow me, and they don't always understand English. So I think it's very important, like, to make this information also available for them. So yeah, so basically I started it in Italian, and I'm continuing it like that, because I mean, I'm Italian, so like I feel way more comfortable to speak Italian than speaking English. But yeah, so, and anyway, I always share other influencers that I follow, that I are doing content in English, which is, I mean, there's a lot of stuff now on Instagram. Like, you can find a lot of really stuff, good stuff also.
yes, there's like a lot of information available now, but it's interesting what you say, that there was not so much information around that time in Italian, and as you say so too, it is very important to make this information available to people, like people need to know what's going on in the world and what's going on in their world, and especially because this is a matter that must be a concern for everyone. So I think it's great what you're doing, like to get this information to other people, and mostly also young people that need to start growing like with this new consciousness. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, and also, so sorry. No, I was just saying that I think that, yeah, the younger generation also, it's more involved in this than actually, even millennials, like my generation. A lot of them are like really not involved, and which this is why I put a hope in them. In them. I'm just like, I hope you're gonna grow up better than I grew up, because I mean, for me, I did the change that I was 25. So it was kind of late in my day, in my years. So when I see people, like people that are 14, 15, that are getting involved already, or they're like, already like eating plant-based, I'm like, oh my god, that's amazing. Like, I didn't know anything at that age. Honestly.
Exactly. Yeah, it must be very nice to see that you're planting small seeds and that they're like flourishing earlier in people,
Exactly.
no? Like in younger people. That's awesome, definitely. And it's also very interesting. I'm pretty sure you lived in Italy for several years, and then you went to Canada. And you said yourself that you talk about like this comparison between both countries, right? So what could you tell us about, the main differences between Canada and Italy? For example, in your own experience, what was one of the things that shocked you the most when you moved to Canada from Italy?
Oh my god. Like, related to the zero waste, or just like in general?
You can go in general and then relate it to zero waste so we can have a whole view. That would be awesome.
I mean, in general, there's like a lot of things that still shock me after 5 years. It's something that I can get over it, but for example, at the beginning, for me, it was one of the things that was very hard for me. It was at university, because in Italy we are very formal when we speak to our teachers. Like you have in Italian, you have this thing that you say lei, which is like basically you, but like in a more formal way when you speak to adults. I don't know if in Spanish you have the same thing, but yeah, but here in Canada, people, they were like, you were just calling teachers by their name, and this for me was like something very shocking. And also in French, you have the vous, which is the formal vous. And when I was saying vous, they were like, whoa, 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 please don't call, don't, please, just just don't do that. Like, yeah, just, and that was something that shocked me so much, because in Italy, like, teachers are like super like, oh my god, you have to say this, because it's a form of respect, which I agree, but like at the same time, I think they're a little bit, they just want to be a little bit more cocky,
Like too
a little bit
squared and yeah.
exactly. So at the university, I was like, it took me so much time to actually accept this fact that people are okay with you calling them by name and saying you. Even on my job, for me, like writing an email to someone I didn't know and just calling them right away by their name, it was like, oh my god, something like, you don't do that. And my boss was like, yeah, you actually do that. You have to call them by their name. It's like, okay. So this was one thing. Second thing, it's like Canadian, the milk bag shocked me a little bit.
Oh
I don't know
yeah.
if
Yeah, the milk bags, of course I know. Yeah, like there are some things in Canada that are very weird. I mean, I had the chance to go
oh
once.
my god.
And yeah, it's like there's even like a song that says that they have.
Really?
Yeah, you
Oh
need
my
to listen
god.
to it afterwards. It's called In Canada, and it's from
Okay.
this astronaut guy. I don't really remember his name right now, but yeah, like they show some like very different things that Canadians do, and one of those is precisely that they have
The
milk
milk
in bags. It's like so weird.
in plastic bags, exactly. Like you were, and it was the most cheap thing that you could buy at the supermarket. I mean, now I'm vegan, so I don't buy these things. But at the beginning, I used to buy those milk bags, and you had to buy the container, the plastic container, to put the milk bag and cut it just on a side, and then just. It was so weird for me. I was like, oh my god, can you just like do milks and like normal? It's just that, of course, you have also milk in normal, Tetra Pak and stuff like that. But like, it's just that they were more expensive. um but yeah, it was like so weird for me. And also, they have, when you go to the grocery, they have all this like huge sizes of things. I remember I found this huge peanut butter jar. It was like 3 kilo, I think, and it was like it was big as my head, basically. I was like, oh my god. And another thing is like the alimentation. I think like they are like, they don't have, like, I'm Italian, so we have this stereotype that we're super attached to our culinary culture, and here they don't really have that.
No, they just have
And
poutine.
yeah, exactly. Kind of bag and poutine, yeah. And here they don't really have that, and I think that they eat. I don't know. I think they just eat bad. I just think they eat bad. So even sometimes I was going. I remember when I started dating my husband at the beginning, I was going at his parents' place, and they were like trying to make me like Italian dishes, but like the North American version. And I was like always like, oh no, why do you do this? But yeah, I mean, it's pretty normal, even my husband, when he came first time in Italy, for him there was like so many shocking things that he was like not used to that. For example, the breakfast here in Canada, they have always huge breakfasts and brunch or stuff like that. Something that I do now, because I got used to that. But my husband came in Italy the first time, and we went to have breakfast, and the breakfast was like a cappuccino and a croissant. and and he was like, that's it, that's it. I was like, yes, that's it. Which, yeah, it was very funny. And another thing is the distances. Oh my god, the distances, everything is so huge here. Like, you go from a city to another, you're gonna drive for hours, and you're not gonna see anything but trees. So also that it was so hard for me, like that you have to move so far to actually see something, and without a car here you don't survive without a car.
Yeah, it's very hard to move around without a car. Like,
Because they don't have really the transportation, like public transportation here to connect the cities. It's almost not existing. And meanwhile in Italy, you have trains, and also buses sometimes, but trains mostly. But here they don't have trains. They have some trains that connect some main cities, but it's really like not. It's expensive, and it's not something that everyone use. So yeah.
I remember when I went, I had the chance to go also like around 2018 or so. No, 2017. Yeah, it was around that year. And of course, I also got shocked like within some things in Canada. But luckily, I was living in a small province, and I used the bike to go everywhere. And one awesome thing was that, when it's summer, it gets dark very late. So it was perfect. Like you could stay out in the city biking for at least until, I don't know, 10 p.m. And I was like so shocked because in Mexico, we don't have that, like it gets dark here at around 7 or 8 every time throughout the year. Yeah. Like, so for me, it was super shocking that it was like, oh my God, it's so late and I can still see light. Like there's daylight still. This is so weird. So weird. But yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and in summer, yeah, it's amazing during summer. And winter, of course, it's winter.
It's the other way around.
You don't actually go out in winter. It's super.
No, I'm pretty sure. I didn't get to spend time in winter. I just got like to enjoy the nice Canadian summer. But yeah, I'm pretty sure winter is so very different. And also because all of these things, like all of the weather and climate and geographical things Canada has, of course that also has an impact in the habits of people, in people's habits, in what they consume, in what they do, in what they don't do. So regarding these things, Doina, what have you been able to see, to perceive about this, like relating climate things or environmental issues with what Canada is?
Well, basically, I think that if I compare it to Italy, I think that Canadians are way more aware of like sustainability and also climate change. For sure, like there's some things here that, as you were talking about the weather and like what you can actually eat. There's a lot of people that say you should eat local, you should eat seasonal if you want to have the least impact on what you're eating. And here in Quebec, like during summer, you have a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. You have a lot of strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. You have a lot of veggies like letuche, like lettuce. Like there's like the main producer of lettuce. You have peaches. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, variety during summer, but during winter, you don't have so much. This is why during winter, basically, a lot of things are imported because you cannot grow so many things here. Maybe there's some things that you can grow, oh my god, how do you say that? I don't have the term that you can grow them in a serre. This is in French.
Like in a garden, in a greenhouse. Sorry, or like in a garden.
Exactly. Exactly. There's some things that you can do that, but not everything. So a lot of things are important, and sometimes I find myself to eat stuff important, but like if you want to eat I mean, as I said, I'm vegan, so like veggies are very important in my alimentation. So if I don't have that, what I'm gonna eat? But during summer, it's really nice. But yeah, so I just think that here, people are really like at least I'm talking about Quebec. They're really into the local things. They're really like buy local things. They really enjoy that. You can go to farms, even like you can go there and just take yourself, apples and strawberries, and you're gonna just pay by the quantity you're taking, which is a fun activity, of course, too. So yeah, they're more involved in that. But I think they're also like in supermarkets, in Italy, for example, we have every time you buy something, there's a plastic bag. You take it, you weight it, and they will have the little label that says like how much it costs. And so when you arrive to the cashier, they're gonna just scan that. Meanwhile, here in Canada, you can arrive with your apples at the cashier and just like weighted, which is, I mean, it may seem minimum, but it's a lot of like waste when you think about gloves and bags at the supermarket that you buy and just waste there because you're gonna arrive home, you're gonna just throw them away. And they're more, when I arrived here, one of the thing, it was very funny. I was going to the university, and in the bus there was a guy. He had a jar, literally a jar, and he had coffee in it. And I remember that I was looking and I was like, why do you have coffee in a jar? Like, why do you, like, what's happening? Like, why, like, as a normal person, like, just, just go buy yourself a takeaway coffee, But actually, then when I started to be interested in zero waste, I was like, oh my God, it has more sense, Like, you're using what you want, you're using what you have mostly, and you're trying to minimize your impact and minimize your waste, which is very funny. Even the reusable bottles, it's something that Canadians don't buy water in bottle. They like water here, it's free. Even in restaurants, at home, you don't pay water. You pay the water bill for warm water, which is electricity basically. You just pay electricity, but you don't have a bill for water. So people like say like, I am not like dumb enough to buy water in a bottle, Why would I do that? Which is amazing. In Italy, though, we have one of the most clean water in Europe, and people still, and Italy still, it's one of the main producer of waste of plastic bottles. And it's awful. It's awful when you think about it, because I know there's some regions where, of course, the water is not so clean, but there's a lot of other cities and regions where the water is the best, and people are still continuing to purchase that. Meanwhile, here in Canada, they don't really do that. They're not gonna buy water, and they also this is why you're gonna always see people with reusable bottles all the time. It's so rare to see someone with a bottle of plastic. Yeah, it's amazing. Some things it's really good, and I think they're I think they're more connected to that because they're super involved in nature. They like to do activities outside, even in winter. There's people going in winter doing activities. I'm like, oh my God, you're crazy. But this, I think they're more connected to nature than actually in Italy, and this is why they respect it also more. Of course, there's a lot of things that here don't function very well. Like, for example, the I think the recycling works better in Italy than in Canada, uh, because in Italy we separate everything, like paper, glass, plastic, aluminium, stuff like that. Meanwhile, here the recycling gets everything together and they separate it at the main, like fabric or something. And I hope they do it. I hope they do it. But yeah, this is why, like, for me, it was kind of like weird to like just put together. It's like, oh, that's weird. Okay. But I mean, I hope it works, and I hope it's not gonna be a huge deal. But yeah, sometimes you think about this and think like, I don't know if recycling is actually working, but I hope it does.
Yeah, I think that kind of maybe happens in a way to make recycling easier for people, because also there's another country where that happens in Ireland. They do the same thing. They just have like two bins, like one for organic garbage and then the other one for all recyclables. And you have like some sort of lists, and on the lid of the same container, you can see what you can throw in there. And then they just throw it all together, and they just have two separate containers. And yeah, that's how they use it. Like for me, it was also weird when I saw it. I was like, okay, yeah, I hope this works. I think it's a lot of work for people in recycling to be, like, this is paper, this is whatever, this is the other thing. So
I think it's just longer. I don't know, because I mean, in Italy we just have the big bins outside and you just go and drop your stuff. Meanwhile, here your bins are inside the house, so like you have to put them outside in the days where they're coming to take them away. At the same time, it's very nice here because they could like even take your old furniture, for example, if it's like wood or something like that. They could take it and recycle it, or and there's also like some places where you can go and bring your for example, your fridge or dishwasher or stuff like that is old and you cannot do anything with that, you can go there and recycle, like electronics mostly, like that, you recycling them like in the best way possible, which is very good too. Because in Italy, I don't know what you do with that. Honestly, I didn't arrive to that level, but yeah, here I went a lot of times to like bring, like even batteries or just cables. You never know what to do with them, and a lot of people they just throw them.
Yeah, they just toss them away. Of course. No, but that's like a great help from like the government itself, for like to provide people all of this easy options, so um, they can get rid of the garbage or the things they have in a proper way.
Yeah.
Definitely. And so when you arrived to Canada, did you change a lot of habits you had? Like, did you already have this plant-based alimentation, or did you start it when you went to Canada, or how did it work for you, Doina?
Oh, I went vegetarian when I started to be more involved in the zero waste. Then I went vegan officially last year. So it's been a year at least I'm vegan, but I was vegetarian for like a year and a half. When but even before, I wasn't really a big, meat eater or something. I really enjoyed pasta tuna, which is a very, like, if there's Italians that are going to listen to this, they're gonna understand the struggle of, like, students that they're studying outside, like in other cities, and basically what you do is pasta with tuna in a can, which is the easiest thing you could do. And I used to that a lot. I used to eat that so much, so many times. Oh my god! I think I was just eating pasta with tuna. That's it. But when I arrived to Canada, what I changed, it was, I basically, the reusable bottles, which was something that, I didn't think about it in Italy at all. University gave us one. Basically, when you start university, they gave us one, which was very nice. I used to use that. Then one of my friends gave me a thermos for the tea, because they said, you're going to Canada, it's going to be cold. You need some warm tea, which is very useful during winter when I was going to class with my coffee and stuff. And also what I started to do, it was like actually making my own lunch. Because in Italy, I used to eat at the cafeteria at university, which was pretty comfortable. Like, it's like, oh, you have everything ready and that's it. But when I started to go to university here, and I was also having a job, I understood that I couldn't buy my lunch every day, so I started to bring my own lunch, which is something that people do here a lot. You're gonna see very few people that are going to buy their lunch every day. A lot of people, they're making their own lunch, even at the office. Everyone is making their own lunch. You don't see them buying a lot, which is very nice, because it's a lot of money that you're gonna waste, but it's also allows you to not waste food at your place, because it may happen too. So I changed that for sure, and I started to be more active. because I mean, I was living in a small city, and it was super green, super nice. I could walk everywhere. I don't mind the cold of winter for sure. Like, I'm not bothered by the cold. I really enjoy it, honestly. I don't like summer, for example. So I was going.
Your team, I don't like warm weather that much too. I prefer cold weather.
Summer in Canada, it's pretty awesome because it's not too warm. Except this year. This year it was a disaster. But usually summers are pretty nice, and they're relaxed, and they have a lot of trees and cities, which is very nice. In Italy, we don't really have so much nature, which is what it makes it also so warm during summer, and also so humid. Meanwhile, here you have trees everywhere, which is so nice. They plant trees. They plant trees every year. They plant also flowers. It's very nice how they take care of the cities, and how they take care of actually the green spaces. They are really like doing a great job, honestly. I wish in Italy they were doing more. They were more involved in, like, planting trees, making some parks,
Yeah, like open
making the
spaces
city.
for people, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah. I think we miss that in Italy for sure. Like, we need that. And meanwhile, here it's very nice. It's awesome.
Yeah, they do are very connected to nature, especially because, I think Canadians are this kind of people that love camping. And as you said at the beginning, driving, like they don't mind driving 6 hours to go camping in a weekend or something, like it's something they do so often and they are totally okay with it. And
Camping is such a huge deal here. It's literally in during summer, if you're not going camping, you're nobody. I hate camping. I'm sorry. Like I love nature, but I hate camping so badly. I went once and I was like, no,
this is not
no,
for me.
no. But yeah, they go so many times in camping. It's literally their favorite activity, which is nice. I mean, you're going to do something in nature, you're doing your own food too, it's very nice as an activity. For sure, it's very nice if you enjoy all the like cooking and the camping with the little fire and making your beds and stuff. But I mean, it's nice. Yeah, they're very, very excited about it.
Yeah, definitely. But I think, that's one of the reasons why Canadians are like so connected to nature and they cherish nature and they protect it and they try to do what's on their hands to make it better, no? Or like to preserve it.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, yeah, I think that it's very rare to find a Canadian that doesn't like camping, or I mean that doesn't like at least hiking. Even hiking, it's a huge deal. And when you go, I went hiking a lot because at least that it's something that I don't say I enjoy, but it's something nice. And all these spaces where you go hiking is they're so clean, they're so well maintained. You don't find trash or something. It's really nice. Even in the cities, they clean very well. You don't have a lot of trash cans in the cities, which is kind of weird because in Italy you find a trash can every 5 steps, and still you can find trash on the ground, which is like, come on, there's a trash can there. Um, but maybe it's also because of this, because people actually they're not going to throw away their stuff on the street, which is very nice. But still, even that, it's they clean a lot the streets, they clean the parks too. Sometimes I went in my park next to my house to clean a little bit because with the COVID and stuff, I guess a lot of people are not going out, a lot of people are not working, and they're not taking care so much of the parks. And I went to like pick up the trash because it's something that bothers me so much. When I see trash on the ground, it's like it bothers me a lot. And also now, with COVID, you has to be more careful maybe with what you're picking. So I'm always trying to have with me like some gloves and just a bag just to pick it up. But in my area, there's even a group of people who are saying like who are on a Sunday or Saturday, I don't remember. They meet and they just do like the jogging pick up trash. So you just go around a little bit and you just pick trash while you're running, which is very nice too. Yeah.
Perfect. And in that sense, so there are, how does it work in Canada and also in comparison to Italy? Regarding people who get together and make maybe an association, organizations, or whatsoever, and then they are doing something in favor of the environment. Like for example, what you're saying now about you go jogging and then you pick up some trash and you hang out with people, but to like you congregate with people to do things for the environment. How common is that? How commonly does it happen that people get together to discuss or to do something about environmental things?
Well, in Italy, since I don't have a direct experience, I would still say it's less common. For example, here it's by area, so you just search your area. Where are you living? Because Montreal is divided in quartier, so you have your own area, and people are there are groups, a lot of groups, like for example where people exchange or get rid of stuff, so they can exchange used stuff or buy and sell old stuff, which is very common here too. Like people buy a lot, thrift a lot. In Italy, there's still a little bit of like people change a little bit, but there's still something like, oh, something used, I'm not really in the mood for that. Meanwhile, here people like, I'm not gonna say they're cheap, but I'm gonna say it's because I think that they want, like, Canadians are not how do you say, they're not willing to spend their money on something that they could find free or used and pay less, which is a great mentality, which is a very great mentality, because you avoid all the waste. In Italy, though, you have to have the last thing, you have to have nice thing, a new thing. If not, it's not good. So here there's a lot of groups with people like selling their stuff. There's a lot of people leaving their stuff outside the house, like furniture and stuff, like, and people, they just pick it up. Like if they are interested, they're gonna pick it up. I found a lot of things even for my house like that, because on the 1st of July people are moving. It's the moving day. It's not Canada Day here in Quebec. It's moving day, and a lot of people, when they move, they leave their stuff on the streets like that. If someone is interested, they're gonna just pick it up. Same thing with, like, they promote a lot also, like local businesses. So they, every time there's like, oh, there's this store that I saw that time on that street, it's very nice, it's local products, it's stuff like that, which is also very nice because they make you discover a lot of stuff that you have nearby. The trash picking also, it's also a thing. I saw that some of my friends in Italy, they did that on the beaches, the trash picking, which is very nice. But I don't know how common is actually for people to meet and do these things. I just think that Italians are more like, I'm like, let's go out and have a drink,
Let's just go out and have fun, Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, sometimes I'm a little bit discouraged by that mentality, but I mean, there's a lot of people that do a lot too. So, and well, we have a lot of Fridays for Future groups, for sure. There's a lot of manifestation that the people are doing, which is nice to see. Also here in Canada, they did it. We even had Greta coming in Montreal. So yeah, we did. There was a big manifestation. But yeah, it's nice. I mean, I think that here it's more zen. It's more. Let's do that. It's okay. Everything is good. Meanwhile, in Italy, there's more, a little bit more judgment.
Yeah, totally get you. And so, with all of these things that you have experienced in both countries, where would you say it's easier to have a zero waste life? Like, which country kind of provides you more things? So, like, hey, go zero waste. It's easier here,
Honestly, both of them. And you know what? I think that Canada, it's more open. It's more open-minded about these things. But Italy has more products. Like stuff. Let's say about, like, shampoos, like solid shampoos, or even food. Even like in supermarkets have way more plant-based options instead of Canada, which is very weird. But when you go to Italy, you really like find a lot of stuff, for sure. Like, as a vegan, I'm not gonna eat burgers every day, but still, the fact that you have so many options, it's amazing. So I would say both of them. Is just that here in Canada, maybe you have less stuff, but people are more involved. Meanwhile, in Italy, they have more stuff, but they're not well informed too. Maybe there's a lot of people who fell also for greenwashing. They go maybe to the supermarket, they're gonna see a product which is written like, oh, green and bio and stuff like that, when that's actually like not it. And maybe they fall more for the publicity instead of actually getting the information somewhere, or understanding which is better, which is not. So yeah, sometimes, like, even under my posts and under my videos, maybe there's gonna be people commenting, like, it's like, oh, this is bullshit, or stuff like that. So it's kind of hard sometimes to, like, you cannot make up the mind of everyone, for sure. But both of the countries offer almost the same things. It's just that they need, in Italy, they need to change more mentality, for sure, because we have the traditions of the culinary tradition. Because, oh my god, you're vegan, you cannot make a vegan carbonara, how dare you. Meanwhile, here in Canada, it's like, we don't care. It's like, you want to veganize the poutine, we're okay with that.
Yeah, it's like, go ahead, girl,
Go
please
ahead.
do it.
So meanwhile, in Italy, it's like, oh my god, how dare you.
Yeah, it's like, no, disrespect to Italian Italian cuisine. Please don't do that, people. Definitely.
How dare you.
Yeah. And okay, so now with this, we can tell that you have possibilities and opportunities in both countries, like, definitely. And not only in both countries, like in general throughout the world, like I could say so in Mexico too. there's a lot of what you can do to buy with less packaging, with less bags, whatever. So it also depends a lot on the choices as individuals we make, right?
Yeah.
So in this sense, we all have opportunities, we all have chances to do and to change our habits. But how does it work regarding, prices? Is it more expensive in Italy? Is it more expensive in Canada? And then you have more options to buy without packages, or, like to go to supermarkets or farmers markets, these kind of things that you have.
Basically, well, of course, it depends also, like when you're comparing Italy and Canada, you have to compare also like the main income of people. Of course, like, Italians thinking in Canada, like if I say my salary, they're gonna say like, oh my God, but at the same time, here in Canada with this salary, you're not doing so much because like everything is more expensive. But I would say like, if I have to compare it like fairly, for sure, like there's some like, for example, here we have a lot of bulk places where you can buy food in bulk, which is awesome because I have one. It's literally 5 minutes from my house. It's very nice. In Italy, we have less stores like that, but they're coming for sure. But we have less for sure. But at the same time, there's more markets. Like the market in Italy, it lasts all year long, because we have the temperatures also that allows us to cultivate more food and more local food. Meanwhile, here in winter, you're not gonna find so many things at the market, like at the farmers markets. Maybe you're gonna find, like meat or dairy or stuff like that. That I'm not really into it. So, but it's I think in Italy we have more produce. Like Italy, it's like has such a big biodiversity. You have so many things that are cultivated there, which is awesome. And it's a shame that people are still choosing maybe something that it's imported when we have so many things locally. And the prices for sure, like in bulk, I would say that some things cost more, but other things really there's not such a big difference, and maybe it's going to cost you less. It depends, like for example, like lentils, or for example chickpeas, stuff like that. If you buy them in bulk, it's way less expensive than actually buy them, in a can that are already cooked. I know it's a pain to like always cook your stuff, mostly like lentils and chickpeas, and it's a pain all the time. But at the same time, it's gonna cost you less, and you just can cook them and just freeze them, and that's okay with you. So there's the prices. I think for some things they're pretty fair. Other things maybe they're more expensive. But also it always depends also if you're buying it locally, because if it's gonna be local, it's gonna be maybe more affordable, let's say. And some things may be more expensive because maybe there's fair trade, it's local, it's organic. Sometimes it's also all of this that may increase the price. But in general, even at the supermarkets, a lot of things are not in a bag. It's just that people choose a lot of the convenience, mostly in Italy, like the salad that it's already prepared, that's already cleaned, that's already cut, the veggies that already cut. For it's something like, I mean, I know that we don't have so much time in our hands. Sometimes we have busy lives, but come on, a little bit of like judge, so just needs to judge better, like what you're buying, what you're not buying, and what to do with your time. um but yeah, for sure, like the prices, I think the most expensive things, they may be the reusable ones. People are thinking, I don't know about, but in general, it's in general, like for example, the reusable napkins. Okay, people are like, oh, you have to pay like, I don't know, $20 for like 10 reusable napkins that are maybe made, with cotton, linen, which is like amazing and stuff. uh, I can buy my Scottex, which is like €1. It's like, okay, but how much time is gonna last your Scottex, and how much waste you're doing with that? And people are not thinking, really, they're not going in that mentality of like, you're buying something, of course maybe it can be expensive at the beginning, but it's gonna last on the long run, and you're not gonna have to buy that thing again. You're not gonna have to buy it. Of course you have to to maybe at the beginning you have to do an investment. Not everyone can afford that, which is okay. But if you can afford it, it's an investment for you and also for your wallet. Sometimes you have to put it also on the money thing, to convince people, because like making it like, you're buying this, but how much money are you wasting by buying this every week or every month more? So sometimes it's kind of selfish to like put it on the money thing, but at the same time, if it's the only way, that's okay.
No, but like it's also, like we can't deny that it's a factor, and that it's something deciding also. Like people, of course, they need to care about their money, and they need to, like it of course influences their decisions about consuming whatever product. But yeah, I think in that sense, I could see maybe that we're somehow similar in Mexico when you were comparing to Italy. For example, here in Mexico, we have a lot of markets. Like you can have access to a market pretty much every day, or there are like markets that are all the time there, or there are some markets that are we call it like markets on wheels. So like they get set on the weekends or on Sunday or Saturday, and then they take them away. But pretty much it's very easy to access to markets. And you can buy a lot of things. So as you were saying, in Italy, we have a lot of different vegetables, fruits throughout the year because our weather is amazing. Like we have sun every time, even in raining seasons, we have sun every day, even for a small bit of time. So we have a lot of diversity and options to be chosen. But also, I think we kind of get into the same problem as in Italy. Like, yeah, we have a lot of options, we have a lot of opportunities and different varieties of food and products in general. But people are not choosing sometimes these things, and mainly because, as you were saying too, like the speed at what we live sometimes doesn't allow you to, hey, I need to dedicate, let's say, half an hour to boil my lentils or my beans or whatsoever. But it's like the options are there. And maybe, as you were saying too, like we cannot blame people. Maybe they're not doing it because of money. Maybe they're not doing it because of time. Maybe they're not doing it because of misinformation. So I think it's great that people start to know that there are lots of options. And one thing that one of our guests was telling us, and I think it's very true, is that when you say someone, hey, you need to stop doing this because it's bad, because you're polluting, because you're whatsoever, you need to give them another option, like, hey, yeah, you can stop doing this, but hey, there's an option B that is way better, and you can do it, and it's easier, and it's cheaper maybe, like.
Yeah, absolutely. You need to give like a solution to the problem. Even like in supermarkets, the fact that there's still stuff that are packed, like tomatoes that are packed. Meanwhile, you can have tomatoes that you can buy that. Maybe the person is gonna use the packed ones because they may think it's more fresh or it's more well maintained or stuff like that, which is also like it's something that needs to go out from the market in general. I think it's because the consumer is gonna choose what is more convenient. It's gonna choose what they think it's maybe more fresh. So yeah, it needs a little bit of education for sure, and not everyone, like people are not gonna go inform them like by themselves about stuff. Sometimes it's just random. Sometimes they're gonna see something on the internet, they're gonna say, oh wait, let me just see that. At the same time, on social media, now that on the social media we have so much information, it's very important, like of course, to also go and dig more, like it's not just a post that you read on the internet. It's gonna be enlightenment, but you can also like just read some more about it, and you're gonna discover more information, because also on socials you don't have all the time to explain everything. You can give the sources and just make people like make their choice, because if someone wants to change, they're gonna do it. They're gonna
Totally. And then also on this side, how would you say it's different talking about government in Canada? Like, is the Canadian government like providing or impulsing also like laws or dynamics in general that are in favor of, you know, the environment, or, you know, against Italy? How does it work in Italy? Is the government like very involved and concerned about, and then trying to do something to put out in laws to either, you know, like get better prices for, you know, like vegetables, fruits, whatsoever, or the recycling things, or maybe transportation, or, you know, like anything that has to do with environmental issues? How are they managing it?
Oh my God. In Italy, it's a disaster because, for example, what happened like at the beginning of the year, it was that European Union, they invested a lot in meat products and dairy products, you know. They were basically, there was like a huge thing of like people being mad because they call milk something that is not milk. Oh my God. First one problem, you know. Oh my God. So like they decided to, like, you know, to say like, okay, we're gonna call it beverage, you know, instead of milk. And people, they're like, oh, this is misleading for the consumers. Like, you're seeing an almond on the box and you think it's misleading. How, you know? Which was, it pissed me so much. But then what happened, that okay, everything was good, that they made happier everyone with like, oh, we're not gonna, like, you know, not say, we can call it milk in case, but on the box is gonna be beverage or stuff like that. But then meanwhile, and the same thing, that there was like this thing that was not so important, they were like just giving millions and millions to like farms, you know, intensive also, you know, intensive farms and stuff, which it's nice because it's funny how they are saying like, you know, you should consume meat at this time, you should not consume too much red meat, you should do that, you should do that, anyway, you know. And then people, and then they just invest more money in that, and you're like, okay, you're not helping the consumer, you're not helping it, you're not doing anything, you know. They having all these pretty documents where they explain, you know, we have the Mediterranean diet, which is basically veggies, fruits, you know, all the cereals or stuff, and then it's like actual meat and dairy and stuff. Even when you go to the doctor, they'll say you like, oh, remove lactose or do that. But it's always the animal products, and still they invest in that, which pissed me so much off. The other day, I discovered there was another thing that the same thing. You know, that, I mean, in Europe, there's a lot of things that they're doing European level, and then they're applied also in like other countries and stuff. And they were like, they pushed more the animal products instead of veggies and, you know, organic food or stuff like that, which was also a very, very bad thing. Because I mean, if we're trying, like, we know that you know, that the production of animal products, it's one of the main cause also of the climate change. We should educate people. I know that in Italy we're so attached to culinary, as I said, you know, we're so attached to cuisine. It's something awful and it's very difficult to change. But at the same time, if you, at the same time, like with everything that happens in this last 2 years, people are still not scared enough. I just think they're not scared. Even in Italy, we had a big fire. And it was not because someone like just put on fire the forest. It was because it's climate change. The weather, the weather is worse and worse. We have here in Canada 50 degrees. We had in July, and in British Columbia. It was awful. It's not normal. Even winters. When winters are too rough, it's not normal either. You know, because it's normal to have cold winters, but when they're like storms, and, you know, no, it's not normal. So I just think in Italy there needs to be like, because they're doing a lot of great stuff, but they're not doing it like directly. they're not they're not teaching. Like, I know that consumers sometimes, I'm just saying that sometimes, you know, we're adults, we have access to the internet, we have access to a lot of stuff. Before, we didn't have the internet, we didn't have the Google, we didn't have a lot of stuff, but now you have no more excuse to not go and inform yourself and actually change a little bit your habits. But at the same time, you know, it's funny how they're like, oh, you know, actually red meat is not good, you should consume this amount of meat per week. And it's still like, people just think that without meat you're gonna die, you know. my god. Here in Canada, well, let's say that it's better for a lot of things, but at the same things we have the pipeline problems, which is the worst thing that Canada can do ever. That hits a lot the indigenous people, and that's really a problem. And I don't know how many. Now we have the election soon. I don't know what's gonna happen, but for now, yeah. And also this thing that they have too much attached to the United States, and we had for 4 years we had an amazing president in the United States that did a lot of things against climate change, and that was very awful. But for the rest, let's say that here they're not gonna do like in Italy. At some point, they did like a propaganda pro meat. It was horrible to see. It was like so awful to see. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing. Here in Canada, you're not gonna see this kind of stuff. Actually, here, for example, in British Columbia, British Columbia, it's one of the province with the most vegans and vegetarians in all Canada. And in general, I just think that here in Canada, they're thriving on plant based. They're like more like if you're saying someone you're vegetarian, you're vegan, they're gonna say like, oh, that's cool. What do you do? What do you do? In Italy, if you're gonna say that, they're gonna be like, oh my god. It's gonna be an apocalypse. So I just think that here they're less judgy, and at the same time they're gonna ask you why you're doing it, what you're eating, what you're doing. And in general, I think that their alimentation, I mean, it's not the best, as I said, but at the same time, they don't mind changing. Like if they would say the same things that they're saying in Italy, they were like a document with like how much meat you should eat per week. For sure they're gonna more people like actually changing their habits. And even in the restaurant you have more choices, and it's very easy to eat out. Meanwhile in Italy, as always, the culinary tradition, like how even it's like in Italian cuisine actually have a lot of vegetarian and vegan options. Like they're already there in general. But yeah, it's kind of sad in the restaurants that they don't still have a lot of choices. That is not, like grilled veggies, which is like, okay, I'm okay with that. But at the same time, if I'm going out, I want to eat something that I cannot do at my place. So yeah, so environmental speaking, for sure, like here in Canada also is one of the countries that it's hit more by climate change. It's like twice, it's hitting twice more than actually the rest of the world, which is very bad. So for now, like I just hope they're gonna do and another thing, it's like here, for example, in a lot of province there's the hydroelectricity. For example, Quebec, it's 100% hydroelectricity. Well, it's 96% hydroelectricity, and the rest it's like wind. I'm not sure, but here it's like basically this is why electricity here in Quebec costs not so much. Like my bill for electricity, it's embarrassing on how small the amount is. And meanwhile, for example, Ontario, it's based on nuclear electricity, which is like the province with the most. But in the rest of the Canada, it's a lot of hydroelectricity, and also Prince Edward Island, for example, is mostly wind. I mean, there's a sense there because it's a little island. But for the electricity part, it's nice for this too. Meanwhile, in Europe, there's still nuclear. So yeah. So also this, some changes, unfortunately, they have to come from above. There's a lot of things we can do as an individual, but then other things that we cannot really do. And also another thing that they started to do last year or 2 years ago, I don't remember, is that the government, they were giving a lot of money, well, a good part of money to make you have an electric car. So a lot of people switched to that. You have a big help, honestly. You had the federal and also the governmental one. And for example, one of my friends bought like an electric car, and here of course it's easy to have one because you have parkings where you can charge it. You have to have your house to actually have an electric car because you need to charge it at night. For long distances it's not the best because in Canada we have too much distance, but for the city it's perfect. And a lot of people switch to that. I see a lot of people with that. If not, there's the hybrid one. Even buses started to be hybrid, which is really nice. So I mean, there's also a waste of electricity, let's say, but it's the more you use that car, the more you're going to use it as on the long run. It's going to have an impact, a positive impact.
Exactly. But I mean, in general, we can see that Canada is trying, like is putting things out to help people to migrate to either zero waste or to, like more, in general, more sustainable things to do. And that's awesome. I mean, it has been very interesting to see all of the differences and the contrasts, sorry, and also like the likeness between Mexico too, and to have like this panorama of different countries. And it has been very interesting to know about all of these things and what the countries are doing and not doing and how does it work in general.
Even the website of the website of Government of Canada, you can find a lot of information about a lot of stuff, like electricity. Even I think they also have a page of like zero waste stuff, if I'm not wrong, which is very nice because you can find directly the sources, at the, let's say, where you can trust.
Okay, so we can see that both countries, as well as Italy and Canada, they're doing things to improve and regarding in favor of the environment. So with all of this that we have talked about today, Doina, what would you tell the audience as a reflection, like to wrap up all of these things that we've been talking about today regarding environmentalism and, everything involved?
Well, what I could say, it's like really like for people to get more involved and get more informed about everything we have out there. We have a lot of tools that we can use. We have a lot of like sources that we can get more information about it. So it's very important to do our part because a lot of people, they just say, "Oh, there's not gonna be a change if the government doesn't change." But at the same time, it's also important for us as an individual to do our part because the changes never arrived because the government decided like one day, "Oh, I'm gonna do this." There was like a request from the collective. Even I'm thinking 3 years ago, in the supermarkets you were not even finding like two plant-based milks, and now you're like just having so many same things for other kind of like vegan options. This is because people like started to ask for it. It's not that because one day people are like, "Oh, maybe we need some more plant-based milk." They don't care about it. Even there's like so many people that are lactose intolerant, they're still like they don't care about it. So it's very important to like have to do our part and to ask for these changes. Sometimes like what I used to do mostly at the beginning, when I was getting more involved in the fast fashion thing, and you want the brand to be transparent because there's a lot of greenwashing in the fast fashion. Like I just thrift, I don't buy new clothes, but it's very important for the consumer to have all the information straight away because sometimes they really like fall for like greenwashing. Like, "Oh, H&M said that this conscious line it's sustainable." No, it's not. So it's very important like to check our stuff, to listen to others that are more expert than us. Like I follow on Instagram a lot of people that are studying sustainability, that are studying biology, all the stuff that they have more knowledge than I could ever have. So it's very important to do our part, and to try to do our best. We don't have to be perfect because there's no perfection in here. We don't mean for perfection. We just want like to do the best we can do because there's a lot of things that some people cannot do. There's a lot of things that we're not going to able to do right away, but you can start little by little with the things you can do in this moment, what you can think that you can handle for the moment, and then you're gonna just, because I think it's a progress. Even for me at the beginning, I started to do some things. I wanted to do everything right away, and don't do that. It's stressful. It's not worth it. And it's still a progress. Still now I'm learning new stuff. I'm doing new habits. I'm implementing other stuff in my house. When I was thinking, last year that maybe everything I was doing it was okay, but then I discovered more stuff. I was like, oh, maybe I can do that, or maybe I can do that. So basically, and maybe what it helped me the most, for me, it was follow people on social medias that are talking about these things, because when you are like, scrolling through your stories and, through like a sunset and another, you find someone who's saying like, oh, I saw these things that you can use, and it's amazing, and it's more eco-friendly and stuff like that. Instead of just seeing people who try to sell you stuff, it's gonna be a change. So like I don't follow influencers that are not talking about sustainability. Honestly, I don't care about it, because for me, telling me it is about your haul of clothes, I'm gonna feel frustrated. so it's very helpful for you to eliminate those distractions, or also those things that may not making you the best version of yourself, let's say, because even I was like a victim of the marketing, a victim of all these things, and I learned from my mistakes. So it's pretty easy to fall for those things. So yeah, that could be for sure like a very useful tip.
Definitely. Just like to like to recover what you said, as you were perfectly saying, we don't need perfect people being like the perfect environmentalist or the perfect recycler or the perfect zero waste shopper. We just need a lot of imperfect people doing the best they can where they are with what they have.
Exactly.
So thank you very much for this, Doina, and also to get to stay in this vibe of getting informed, getting more knowledge about it. Where can we find you? Where can we follow you, your social media, or where can we get more of you, Doina?
I am mostly on Instagram right now and TikTok sometimes, and also YouTube. But on YouTube, I'm doing less content, let's say, because I don't really have time. But it's mostly Instagram and TikTok for sure. Like, of course, like my content is in Italian, so maybe it's kind of hard for people to actually understand. But now we have like all these amazing tools that you can do, just pre-translate of the post, or even in the stories, I always try to do the caption. And now on the stories, they put an option where you can click on the translation, you can understand what the person is saying. But yeah, mostly like, yeah, I mean, I'm mostly in Italian, but in case if there's someone Italian listening, like I'm mostly on Instagram. Yeah, I'm on Instagram and yeah, YouTube and TikTok basically. So these are the main ones that I'm using for now.
Okay, and how do you appear? How do we look for you?
Oh my god! Okay, my TikTok and Instagram is the same, which is Dionysus Sustainability, which is like a pun between Dionysus and sustainability. It's just that you just cut the last us. And on YouTube, I'm Maple Polyglot. But you can also find me with my name. Some people find me with Doina Chukina. I don't know why. It's just YouTube. Sometimes people just find me with my name and which I wanted to avoid, but I mean, okay. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Awesome. Then we'll look for you too, and we'll hope people and Italians listening there that can access to this information. And well, thank you very much for being with us here today. It was so interesting, and we really are so grateful for you giving us the chance to open this new space for new guests, international guests, because you were our first. And yeah, we're very excited about it. We're going to see how it works this time now. And thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you very much. It was an honor to be the first one, honestly. So I can't wait to listen for the other guests in English. Like that, I'm gonna be able to see other perspective also from around the world, it's just very interesting, honestly, as thing to listen to other countries, what they're doing, what they're not doing. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. So yeah, good luck, and I can't wait. Anyway, I follow you on Instagram, so I'm gonna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes,
Thank
we'll definitely be in
much.
touch. Thank you, Doina.
Have a nice day.
Y bueno, gracias a todos por escuchar un episodio más de Perspectiva Verde. Esperamos haya sido de su agrado. No se olviden de darle like, compartir, escucharlo y seguirnos en nuestra página en todas las redes sociales y darse una vuelta al directorio verde en www.perspectivaverde.com.mx. Y nos vemos a todos en una siguiente edición. Adiós.